Hello, truth seekers, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the most baffling archaeological mysteries of all time. Imagine a discovery so strange, so out of place, that it forces us to question everything we thought we knew about human history. We're talking about a skull that, to this day, defies scientific explanation. Is it human, or could it be something else entirely? This isn't just another old bone dug up from the dirt. This is an artifact that challenges the very foundations of anthropology and evolution. For decades, scientists have been locked in a fierce debate, unable to reach a consensus. The more they study it, the more questions arise. So, what makes this skull so special? What features has it presented that have left the world's brightest minds scratching their heads? Stick with me because we are about to unravel the story of the skull that science can't explain. Our story begins not in a high-tech laboratory, but in a remote corner of the world, where an ordinary day turned into an extraordinary discovery. The year was 1930, and deep in the copper canyons of Chihuahua, Mexico, a teenage girl stumbled upon something that would change her life, and potentially, our understanding of the past. Hidden away in an abandoned mine tunnel, alongside a normal human skeleton, she found it, a small, peculiar skull. It was immediately clear that this was no ordinary find. The skull was misshapen, with enormous eye sockets, a tiny jaw, and a cranial capacity that seemed impossibly large for its delicate frame. The local villagers were spooked, whispering tales of little people who once roamed the canyons. For years, the skull was kept as a family curiosity, a local legend, until it finally made its way into the hands of researchers. And that's when the real mystery began. When scientists first got their hands on this enigmatic skull, they were stunned. The physical characteristics were unlike anything seen before. The orbits, or eye sockets, were not only massive but also unusually shallow, suggesting eyes of a phenomenal size. The bone itself was thinner and lighter, yet denser and more durable than typical human bone. Most perplexing of all was the cranium. It was bulbous and expanded, holding a brain volume estimated to be far larger than that of an adult human, despite the skull's childlike proportions. Initial theories flew thick and fast. Could it be a victim of a rare, undocumented genetic disorder? Perhaps it was a case of hydrocephalus, a condition where fluid builds up in the brain, causing the skull to swell. But as we'll see, each of these conventional explanations began to fall apart under closer scrutiny. The skull has symmetry, and the unique formation of its bone structure didn't quite match any known medical condition. Every answer just led to more questions. Was this a malformed human, or were we looking at a new, undiscovered species of hominid? To get to the bottom of this, scientists turned to the most powerful tool in their arsenal: DNA analysis. This is where the story takes a fascinating and controversial turn. The first attempts to extract and sequence DNA were conducted in the late 1990s. The initial results were mind-blowing. The lab reported that they could recover mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down from the mother, and it was undeniably human. But when they tried to sequence the nuclear DNA, which comes from both parents, they hit a wall. A significant portion of it was reported as unidentifiable. What does unidentifiable mean? According to the researchers project of the study, it meant that the DNA sequences didn't match anything in the massive, worldwide database of known terrestrial DNA. The implications were staggering. If the mother was human, who or what was the father? This led to the explosive theory that the skull belonged to a hybrid, the offspring of a human mother and a non-human father. Now, we have to be careful here. These findings were, and still are, highly contentious within the scientific community. Mainstream science demands rigorous, repeatable results, and many experts were skeptical. They argued that the unidentifiable DNA could simply be a result of contamination, degradation of the ancient sample, or even errors in the early sequencing technology. They called for more tests, more data, and more peer review. The battle lines were drawn. On one side, you had those who believed this skull was proof of something extraordinary. On the other, those who demanded more conventional proof. Let's play devil's advocate for a moment and explore the skeptical viewpoint. The primary argument against the alien hybrid theory is that there are, in fact, several known human conditions that can cause severe cranial deformities. Conditions like progeria, Krausen syndrome, or Apert syndrome can all result in an abnormally shaped head and facial features. Could this skull simply be an extreme and tragic case of one of these? Pathologists have pointed out that while the skull is bizarre, none of its features are, in isolation, completely impossible for a human. It's the combination of all these features together that makes it so unique. For example, while hydrocephalus can expand the skull, it typically thins the bone, making it fragile. This skull's bone, remember, was said to be stronger than normal. Furthermore, the skull's foramen magnum, the hole where the spinal cord connects to the brain, was centered more forward, suggesting an upright posture with a very different neck structure. These are details that simple medical explanations struggle to account for. The debate rages on. Skeptics argue that without a full, verified, and peer-reviewed genomic sequence, any claims of non-human DNA are premature. They believe that with more advanced technology, we will eventually find that all the DNA is, in fact, human, belonging to an individual with a complex set of birth defects. It's a plausible and scientifically responsible position. But it still doesn't quite satisfy the nagging feeling that there's more to this story. So, where does that leave us? On one hand, we have a skull with a collection of physical anomalies that don't neatly fit any known human condition. We have initial, though controversial, DNA tests that hint at a genetic makeup that is part human and part something else. On the other hand, we have the voice of mainstream science, urging caution and demanding more evidence before we leap to any sensational conclusions. Is this skull the remains of an ancient human-alien hybrid? Is it evidence of a lost branch of the human family tree, a species in parallel to our own? Or is it the tragic, but ultimately human, result of a 1 in a billion genetic lottery? The truth is, we still don't know for sure. The skull remains an enigma, a puzzle box waiting for the right key. It's a powerful reminder that there are still profound mysteries hidden in the earth. Mysteries that challenge our perception of who we are and where we come from. This skull forces us to keep an open mind. It teaches us that science is not about having all the answers, but about the relentless pursuit of them. Every new test, every new technology brings us a step closer to solving this incredible riddle. Perhaps one day, we will finally have a definitive answer. Until then, the skull remains a tantalizing what if, a testament to the strange and wonderful possibilities that our universe holds. What do you think? Is this definitive proof of something beyond our world, or just a medical anomaly that has been misinterpreted? Let me know your theories down in the comments. I read every single one, and I'm fascinated to hear your perspective. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's greatest mysteries. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration. Until next time, stay curious.